Welcome to Duality Check, the podcast where two brothers embark on a journey through the realms of scientific inquiry, the mysteries of the past, and the uncharted frontiers of spirituality. Join us as we explore the wonders of our world and beyond, all while embracing the roles of curious bystanders rather than experts. Together we'll unravel the tapestry of existence, blending the dichotomies of knowledge and wonder. Get ready to question, ponder, and delve into the dualities that shape our understanding of reality on Duality Check. I'm Drew.
And I'm Dean, and welcome to episode number 92.
92. Here we go.
Is your mic turned all the way up?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I think I just got to breathe on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Be right up on it. Yeah, welcome to episode 92, y'all.
Yeah, we, for us, it was just Halloween yesterday.
Yep.
And, had a fun time hanging with the fam.
Yep, got the kids out trick-or-treating. Everybody got together, play some games.
Yeah, got all the siblings together.
Yeah,
drinking, hanging out.
That was pretty fun. We don't do that nearly enough.
Yeah, it was super
nice
fun.
When it happens. All five of us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was last night. And then, today was just kind of a chill, get the house kind of in order for us. And
yeah.
Try to hold the kids off from eating every bit of candy they got last night. They're like, I want to eat this now. No, I want to eat that now. I want to eat that now. But luckily, they did pretty good. They understood.
Yeah, you can't just only eat candy.
Yeah, you got to sprinkle in some fruit and veggies and meat and all the regular foods in between, which they usually, they do pretty good about. It's like, you got to wait until you eat your dinner or lunch or at least have a snack or something.
Right.
Got to eat normal food. Yeah, it was fun.
So, I guess we'll probably finish out that Book of Jehovih chapter today. And kinda Drew brought some stuff. I brought a couple things. Maybe we can get back to some Marcus Aurelius and do some tarot tonight too. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think we have much left on that chapter.
I think it's
on that book.
It's one chapter in the Book of Jehovih left.
Maybe a couple pages or something.
It's about a page and a half.
Okay. Yeah, so that won't take much.
Well, we've said we've stretched longer on much larger sections or much shorter sections.
Yeah,
so.
That's true.
Anyway.
Yeah, we always underestimate how much we can just talk about the little nuances of things.
Did you see there's a new Jesse Michels just did another episode with Jason Giorgiani.
I saw it.
Giorgiani or whatever.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't listen to it yet, but he had him on again not that long ago too, right?
Yeah, it was pretty recent. I think he was hanging on to that one for a while before he published it, and then they just did a follow up.
He does
this new one's 4 hours long, and they're talking about the Nazis and UFOs and stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be fascinating.
Oh, dude, and
we'll have to cover some of that next week or something.
G-Man sent me this thing to check out, which I've never heard of. Have you ever heard of this? Ringmakers of Saturn. I
have heard of this.
You have?
I haven't read it, but I've heard of this.
Okay.
Somebody else referenced it, and something else
This is the first time I've come across it. Here, I'll show you guys what we're looking at here. So he sent me this a book review of this book, Ringmakers of Saturn by Norman R. Bergen, which I added to my reading list. So, it says, after a few years of wanting to read this book, I finally got my hands on a copy. I have no background in astronomy or ufology, but still find the basic premise very intriguing. Namely, that the rings of Saturn are not naturally occurring, but are in fact made by giant vehicles. Yeah, so apparently he pulls from NASA photos and Voyager, and this guy has worked at NASA for a long time. But
the guy who wrote the book?
The guy who wrote the book, yeah.
Okay. Not the guy who's reviewing it.
No. Anyway, I thought it was pretty interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, what have you heard about it? Or you've just heard the term?
Yeah, just heard of the term Ringmakers of Saturn. I think it was somebody referenced it. I think it was probably Jesse Michels or something that maybe has referenced it in another episode.
Maybe
one of his moon episodes or something like that.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. So,
that's fascinating, yeah. Made by vehicles.
Yeah.
Huh. Do you remember that image we saw of how the moons of Saturn like seem to create the gaps that we see, like because of the gravitational pull of the moons, like how they rotate around, they create the gaps in which you see between the rings, at least seemingly. I don't know if that's
I don't think that's all the moons, but
right, but I think the ones that are gravitationally significant, maybe.
There is,
and there's the one where we saw like the waves of gravity, like, moving throughout the rings as the moon passed through. And it seemed like because of the way it lined up, maybe that's just the way the picture was taken, but
no,
it seemed to have lined up where the gap was as well.
Which makes sense because if there's a big body in that area that's orbiting in that space where the ring otherwise would be, after enough orbit, it's going to clear all that debris out of there.
Right. And then you see those effects of the gravitational waves moving through it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think that was gravitational waves. I think it was just more like... I don't know.
I think there was, at least as far as what we were looking into, it made it seem like they were like seeing the gravitational waves moving through because it's not like it's a solid object. These are like lots of bits of pieces of...
Yeah. No, it may be an effect of gravity, but that doesn't necessarily make it a gravitational wave per se.
Right.
They may be like wave-looking structures that are caused by gravity. It doesn't make it a wave of gravity.
Right. Okay.
Because gravitational waves are like super hard to detect. That's where they set up like LIGO and stuff.
Right. Okay.
In order to measure actual space-time deforming.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. Maybe not waves themselves, but the effect of the gravity itself as it moves past the objects, it creates this effect.
It was like creating ripples on the rings nearby. The material of the rings.
It's cool looking either way.
All right, so you brought this thing.
Yeah, this is a guy using a simple setup to demonstrate how Li-Fi or light-based wireless communication is used. So he does like kind of like laboratory like showing of it. So it's interesting. Gives you a little bit of perspective on how these things operate.
It's cool. Let's check it out.
Yeah, let's watch it.
Shine a light on it, it makes a little noise, which means we should be able to transmit sound using light. To test it out, I started by making a circuit that amplifies the audio signal from my iPad. Once I pressed play, I can tell the song's playing because the light begins to pulse. This happens because software converts the sound file into an electrical signal that normally goes to the speakers, but in this case, I'm sending it to an LED instead to produce light. And using the same solar panels before, you can see the voltage produced varies right along with the music. So in theory, the flashing of the light bulb carries all the information needed to reproduce the sound in the song. The only problem is that I had to keep the solar panel pretty close to the light. Moving it away even a short distance causes... And I really wanted to see if I could use this to transmit sound over a much longer distance. To do this, I had to swap out the LED for a cheap red laser diode, which produced a decent-sized dot when I pointed it across my living room and up the stairs. And it actually worked, way better than I expected. Transmitting sound with light. How cool is that? If you take a solar panel, hook up a speaker to it, and shine a light on it, it makes a little noise, which means we should be able to transmit sound using light.
Wow, that's really cool.
That's pretty cool, right? It made me, when I first saw it, I was just like thinking of like interstellar communication or, like the potential for something with high energy to communicate.
That's essentially what we do with like radio and stuff, right?
Right. It's just another form of it, using it, and maybe light being something that can move so fast can communicate much quicker over long distances?
Well, any type of radio communication is light. Like radio waves are light waves. It's just it's a low frequency.
Lower frequency, yeah.
Which you use different frequencies based on whatever properties that are beneficial, right? So the downside to using the visible spectrum is that it's easy to block, right?
True.
So you use the higher wavelength, lower frequency, so that it can bend around things. It's harder to block. But yeah, that we already have. I mean, that's basically. Mm-hmm. But this is a really cool, simple way to do it. I thought that
demonstrate it.
Yeah, it's really sweet. And maybe like simplified version of like a radio, which is very cool. Good find. I like that. What do we got next here?
And so this is so last week we had talked about the hypnotist that was using it in a social experiment, or hypnotism in a social experiment, to see if it's possible to get somebody to commit murder while hypnotized and have them be completely unknown to what they had done, right?
Yeah.
So this is the actual video I was referencing, so I just wanted to play it and give you a little bit better explanation of what it is that they were doing.
One second. Stephen, happy get? Explain what's going on here. This is the culmination of quite a few months' work to see whether it's a gentleman called Chris, who's currently in a hypnotic trance, see whether it's possible to hypnotically program a person to kill. Anything strange happened during the talk?
No.
We actually had a camera on you. I know we didn't let you know that we were filming, which was important. Remember that woman in the polka dot dress?
No.
Don't remember us turning around talking to you?
No.
Remember that bit?
No.
Yes, at the moment you will have no memory of the storm, but you just assassinated a national treasure.
You shot me.
The dude looked flabbergasted.
Yeah, he looked absolutely terrified.
Yeah, horrified of what he may have just done, right?
Yeah. This person's asking, what's this from?
I didn't dig into it.
Darren Brown and Stephen Fry, the assassin with Stephen Fry.
Will pop up. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to watch some of that.
Huh.
Interesting social experiment, though, to see. Imagine doing that to a large group of people and just having, like, that's the idea of like sleeper cells, right? That's the idea of having like somebody who's like in a hypnotic or has a hypnotic like trigger within them and can be awakened at any point by some sort of trigger word or phrase, and then they pop into action, right? It's something that, we've been seeing in movies for a long time, and but to think of it as a reality, and
I can't see why they wouldn't use stuff like this.
There's no reason, and it keeps it clean as far as like making it hard to find out who was actually the one who wanted any of these things done. I mean, so it's such a tool that they would absolutely want to use.
Yes and no. I'd want to know all the details about it, because the setup work with the subject, like with the person who's going to be being hypnotized, that may be a non-trivial amount of work and preparation and the right type of person, and then getting the rest of the situation. But yes, the idea of being able to hypnotically trigger someone in such a way that they don't remember what they did is, the thing is, I've never looked super deep into like real hypnosis and like what are the actual limits of it.
Yeah.
Like what,
And how true and how real it is.
Yeah,
in certain
what distinguishes
scenarios.
like real or therapeutic hypnosis from like stage hypnosis from like
Hypnotic
this type
regressions
of,
and
yeah, yeah.
That would be a
And-
fascinating episode to do, is to like look into that,
Yeah.
find out more about hypnosis and like the whole process, and maybe go on different tangents like hypnotic regression, which is something that's popped up in a lot of the UFO stories and stuff, which would be fascinating to cover.
Well, people,
And then
people
also
use
stuff
it
like this,
for
too.
like, yeah, for like John Mack would use it with the abductees he worked with to help uncover, suppressed memories. People
Yeah.
use it for like past life regressions, which
Daran
is
does.
very speculative, and a lot of people have issues with that and think it's all made up.
Even Chris Bledsoe, he did hypnotic regression sessions after his experience
He did.
and a lot of the details of his story actually came out
Right. We
during
did
that
episodes
hypnotic
on that.
regression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Chris put out another chunk of that interview, or the other interview he did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to look
I'd love
into
to go
that.
back into that story
Yeah.
and find out more and hear more.
But anyway,
That was
yeah,
such a
hypnosis
fascinating
is
one.
fascinating, and it's something I just don't know a lot about, but it's super fascinating.
That'd be a good episode topic and
Yeah.
go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, that was it.
Let us know if you have any book suggestions.
or experience, if you have
Yeah.
yourself gone through some sort of hypnosis, even whether it be at a carnival where just some stage hypnosis is doing something, and what was your experience if you've had any.
Yeah, because my
That'd be
very
fascinating.
surface level understanding is that it takes a certain type of personality to be a little more susceptible.
Yeah, or at least open to the idea, so
Right.
you're not like trying to stop it as it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to be open to it in that kind of setting.
Which was my experience when we tried to have my aunt do like a regression on me, and I just fought it the whole way. Like as soon as I felt like I was like losing control, I was like, nope.
Yeah, it's kind of a scary thing to think
Yeah,
about, like
yeah.
losing control of your subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Having somebody else be able to put or take something out of it.
It's
Very vulnerable.
a very vulnerable position. Yeah, there's a lot of trust involved there.
Yeah.
I found this video by Anton Petrov recently. I found it pretty fascinating. Thought
Okay.
maybe we could talk about this real quick.
Sure.
Why don't we play a few minutes of it?
Okay, let's do it.
Today's video, I wanted to start with this bizarre picture. The somewhat bizarre picture of a face visible on the carapace of this crab. This is known as the Haiki crab, or Haikigani in Japanese. And it's actually a species of crab native to only Japan, known for its somewhat bizarre shell pattern that resembles a human face, and specifically a face of an angry samurai. And this has been depicted in a lot of different paintings and pictures in Japan, with the species also named after the powerful Taira clan that dominated medieval Japan, and so in the local folklore where these crabs are found, they're actually believed to be a kind of a reincarnation of these Heike warriors defeated in the Japanese battle in 1185. And this has actually become popularized in the famous TV segment by Carl Sagan in his TV series Cosmos, because this was an example of unintentional artificial selection. In other words, this is a kind of an accidental evolution, because in this region crab fishing is very, very popular. But sometimes Japanese fishermen would catch these specific crabs and would then throw them away, thinking that these are basically reincarnated samurai, mostly out of respect and also because of various superstitions, which allow these crabs to survive and to proliferate and to basically spread the same gene that allowed them to have this particular pattern. And so I thought this was a perfect example to start today's topic, because today we're going to go through several individual studies that all in essence explore a very similar idea. The idea behind this accidental evolution that seems to be entirely produced by various types of human activity, with this idea and this concept now referred to as bioevolutionary Anthropocene hypothesis. Explored in more details in this study you can find in the description. And so essentially we're kind of modulating the evolution of all life on our planet, and not just by causing extinctions, but by actively reshaping how animals evolve, and sometimes in some truly wild and unexpected ways, very often without even realizing it. And so this biological Anthropocene hypothesis is a sort of a new concept that helps us understand that human activities are now the most important imprint on evolution itself. Humans have officially become a hyper-keystone species. We seem to impact biodiversity by creating entirely new evolutionary pathways, which means that even after we're gone, the future of life on Earth is going to look entirely different, mostly, I guess, thanks to us. And so in this video, we're going to explore some of the examples of how we're doing this, focusing on some of the more important discoveries from actual scientific studies, showing us how much we're forcing animals to change and how we're affecting their lives. And here, obviously, there are two main ways, either intentional evolution or accidental evolution. And the intentional evolution is quite obvious. This is also known as artificial selection, with the classic example being dogs, with additional examples coming from agriculture. And so here the idea is that we normally choose either animals or plants based on certain traits we like. For example, the fact that this chihuahua looks the way it looks is of course because over the generations, it slowly changed from its original shape, becoming smaller and smaller and cuter and cuter.
Yeah, I'm going to skip forward to the part where it gets to the unintentional.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a cool topic.
Yeah.
Around us. And here it's actually a comparison between cattle and farm animals and various wild animals that we usually find in forests near cities. And so in this recent article on the 8,000 years of wild and domestic animal body size, archaeologist Cyprien Moreau analyzed over 81,000 physical measurements from 311 archaeological sites in France, discovering that over the last 1,000 years, domestic animals like chickens and cattle have generally increased in size. That, of course, makes sense. But he also discovered that wild animals, such as, for example, foxes and deer, seem to have decreased in size, and mostly as a result of human impact. And specifically, as human populations expanded and urbanized, many of these wild animals faced habitat fragmentation. They experienced resource reduction, there was an increase in hunting, and overall they were kind of pressured to have smaller body size and also reduce population numbers. While at the same time humans were selectively breeding a lot of animals like chickens and cows to maximize products like meat, wool, and eggs. But most of this seems to have accelerated in just the last few decades. So as this graph right here shows us, quite a lot of this divergence and acceleration seems to have occurred after the Industrial Revolution, especially as agriculture intensified and as urbanization increased as well. With this research also highlighting the significant evolutionary influence humans seem to exert on animals, both directly and indirectly. And it's really this unnatural or unintentional selection that's particularly intriguing here, because this is actually both fascinating and just a little bit alarming. Here, regular human activities seems to create this novel selection pressure that forces wild animals to evolve rapidly and seems to be happening in mere decades compared to typical evolutionary pressure that might take thousands of years. This is actually also referred to as rapid evolution. But crucially, this unnatural selection seems to push evolution in a direction opposite of what nature would normally do. For example, it seems to rewire animal bodies. There's another study in the description that focuses on salmon. And normally for fish like salmon, it's more beneficial to be large and to be massive in order to survive. But our fishing practices had a lot of profound impact on a lot of marine life as well, with many wild fish species generally shrinking over time, with pretty much most of the fish now being at least 20% smaller on average. But even stranger, their life cycle has also shortened by about 25%. This is something that was also confirmed by several other studies. And that's probably the result of overfishing, because fishermen usually take the largest fish out of population, leaving the smaller, faster maturing ones to reproduce. And so this recent study on Atlantic salmon discovered a rapid decline in salmon body size, mostly linked to reduced water flow from various hydropower developments. And this only took approximately 25 years. And in this case, the overall size of fish dropped by at least 50%. You can kind of see the body mass decrease in this graph, with the genetic analysis also confirming a shift toward a very specific gene that promotes earlier maturation. In other words, these fish become adults much faster, but also end up being much smaller in size. And this seems to be the result of human infrastructure that was never intended to affect the fish. And so since this was confirmed using genetic analysis, we know this is a physical effect and not just the result of overfishing or the larger fish missing. Here the fish really changed genetically. And we have very similar examples in other locations involving completely different animals. For example, African elephants. Here in Mozambique's Gorongosa National Park, following 20 years of civil war and a lot of poaching for ivory, which of course involves killing the elephant for its tusks, bizarrely enough, quite a lot of female elephants started to be born tuskless. These are now called Gorongosa elephants. And so here, because they had no tusks, poachers just didn't really kill them anymore, resulting in a very bizarre evolutionary effect driven entirely by humans. And somewhat similar effects have also been observed in other animals that are usually used for trophy hunting. For example, bighorn sheep that in the last few decades evolved to have much smaller horns, which is once again a result of a genetic transformation and a kind of an unintended evolutionary consequence. But it's not just hunting. Even our cities or our urban environments have become evolutionary hotbeds. One such example based on a recent study is from the crested anoles in Puerto Rico. Here, ecologist Kristen Winchell discovered that these lizards seem to have evolved much longer limbs in order to sprint across concrete, while also evolving larger, more intricate toe pads in order to cling to smooth buildings and to glass. On top of this, they've also become much better at handling the intense urban heat, even staying active at temperatures much higher than their forest relatives, with this bizarre adaptation completely rewiring their bodies, and all of this happening in just a few decades. Once again confirmed through genetic analysis and by comparing their limbs and skin development. With some animals, like for example red foxes that usually frequent a lot of locations in London, evolving their heads and their body shapes to look just a little bit more like dogs. And this also happened in just over a century of living in cities, resulting in smaller heads, shorter and wider snouts, and even different body shape in general compared to their cousins from the forest. And strange.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that super interesting?
Yeah, it's all happening within decades too. Like
Yeah.
how fast these things are happening, which I've heard about, just the impact that we have on animals, but to see it with all these different species happening within like 20, 25 years, 100 years in some cases, but
Right.
with wild animals too, like the deer and the foxes, like getting smaller, and the fish, the fish growing small, like 20% in 25 years is insane. It makes sense because you take the bigger ones don't reproduce with this, and so it's just, we're just making it happen based on our preferred, choice of which ones we're gonna,
Right. Plus, when we do hunt, the practice of hunting the big buck is actually going to pressure the population to get smaller over time.
And the elephants losing their tusks entirely, like that's insane.
Whereas you think of like the difference between like human hunting and like a wolf hunting a big game. Like
they go for the smallest.
Well, they go for whichever one they can catch, which turns out to be whichever one's the smallest or whichever one's the weakest.
Yeah.
And that makes that puts an opposite pressure to make the herd stronger.
Right. And then when you have the fact that we took out a lot of these top predators that were doing that to these animals, and then at the same time we're putting the opposite pressure on those those
while
populations,
fragmenting their habitats with roadways and railroads and
dams and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. It's one of those things. Is like, I think they're adapting, obviously, but I think it's like, you get to a point where it's just not gonna, it's not gonna be sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, it could get to a point where, we just start entering a period where multiple species start
dying off much quicker,
but
becoming endangered.
I think some people would say we're probably already in a time like that, but
some sort of like mass extinction event, but like on a slower time frame, not something that's gonna not some like comet coming and hitting and wiping stuff out. It's just this slow
and it's not just like global warming either. It's like
it's multiple things happening.
We
take out the natural predators, at the same time we apply a different type of pressure on those populations of prey animals. And then it's just gonna snowball.
But even the unintended stuff, like the lizards that are evolving to be able to survive in
city.
urban environments, which is like crazy to think about.
And the fox
we're
too.
coming up with like an urban fox and an urban lizard versus the wild forest versions.
Like it's wild that
they're
they're
still
changing
wild
the shape
too,
of their. It's wild that they're changing the shape of their heads
Yeah. Well, so he goes on
to look
in
more
this,
like dogs.
Yeah, he goes on in this to say that essentially, like the types of changes that these things are going through is the first few steps of domestication syndrome, which is what
We had done. Yeah.
how we turn wolves into dogs, right? Is through this domestication syndrome. And it's almost like we're priming a whole bunch of species to like become
ready for
domesticated.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
But yeah,
fascinating.
he was going to point that out with like the fox and stuff, that those features that are making it more like dogs.
Make them more like look a little bit cuter, a little bit, a little bit less likely to get shot or,
Right.
whatever.
Well, and
But the fact that they're so
less
wild.
aggressive towards humans means more survival too, right?
Yeah.
If you're living in a world dominated by humans and you're in and out of an urban environment, if you can be cute and non-aggressive towards humans, you have a better chance of survival.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're just like taking out the rats and the bunnies and the small, irritant animals and that are near the urban sprawls,
Right.
and you're cute, then
Right.
their humans will be like, oh, they're just grabbing all the mice and rats and things that we don't want to have to deal with anyways. And,
Right.
So crazy.
Yeah. It's a
Cool,
interesting world.
It's a great video. I'll
Yeah,
have to
totally.
watch the rest of that.
All right, cool. Well, I think we're ready for our first break here.
All right. We'll take a quick break and we'll see you on the other side.
All right.
You're someone who was born to have your message heard.
I believe that somewhere in the darkest night, a candle glows.
The lights flicker in the background, reflecting on my life. Can barely see through the crowd, but I can see their eyes watching, piercing like they can see who I really am. I grab the mic off the mic stand, become the person I'm supposed to be. I wonder if they notice it. All of my life I've been working for this moment here. If only they knew half the fight. And they think it happened overnight, but behind the doors the lights are out. Shadows in my darkened past. Depression I've overcame, I had a mask hidden behind a smile. A kid pretending to be a grown-up. I guess I never lost my inner child. He plays inside my mind, seeking and hiding between my 9 and 5. At night he comes alive, so the question lies. Do I sacrifice my life for the lights, or let it go and let it die inside? A question of a lifetime. Yeah, experiencing the born. And we've only just become.
All the people in the city trying.
The city lights shining brightly in the background. It's a perfect silhouette. I can feel the city breathing against my flesh. Most deaf, the most slept on, but I can't rest my head till I'm dead. Represent the first class of the next on deck. Unheard voices in my head, just waiting to be said. But what's there left to say when there's nothing left to save it all? Every season someone's praying on my fall, but I crawl back. Crabs in the bucket is all we are. I heard a voice in the distance telling me to keep longer. Every day I'll grow stronger with the thought of living beyond words. Scribble in my mind and take notes. Get ghost in my thoughts, the train leaves before I'm caught up. But I'm here now and forever never last. On the road less traveled, searching for my past, so I can tell her that I'm long gone and there's no going back. I'm headed for the lights like I'm about to die, but I'm barely even born yet, and I'm just getting warmed up. Cold world, so you better watch your karma comes around before you know it. But I keep a locomotive, kept it real, you haven't noticed though. It's just the way that it goes. It's called reality and I take a heavy dose every day when I pray to the most. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I made it this far. Holding the same cards I've been dealt with my whole life, they neglecting my perspective. Intercepting my message cause my story's worth telling. Cause it might change yours and it might make sense. You gotta take what's yours before the daylight ends. Reach for the lights, yeah, what? Reach for the lights. Reach for the lights, yeah. You gotta take what's yours before the daylight ends. Reach for the lights.
Nobody cares about me. travel the world around in buses, trains, and planes around, but it's all right with me. Living on memories of home.
Welcome back.
All right.
That was M.Born. And what was that song called?
Forever.
Yes. Which is the first track off his Born Experience album.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I've listened to that whole album.
Yeah, it's a really cool one. It was one that he did. I think John recorded most of it with him at the studio, and a lot of it is instrumentals. But yeah, no, it's good, and that's one of my favorite tracks. Is that first song?
I was gonna say I really like that. I was vibing to that beat.
Yeah.
I love the background trumpet
Mm-hmm.
with the little bit of working on it. Background. I love that. I was a trumpet player in middle school, so I love
Got a soft spot for the horns.
Anytime I hear some good horns in a song, I'm all about it.
All right. Well, I've been wanting to show this for a few weeks. This is the teaser for one of Jesse Michels' episodes. It was the one he did with Brigham Bueller. He's the guy who runs the Ways to Well. Which is like a alternative health system that essentially tries to do actual healthcare rather than like symptom addressing.
It's just preventative,
medicine. So they do things like basically like they'll do a full battery of like biomarker tests.
Yeah.
And use that data to tell you like what you should be doing to like
change those data points,
change the bad data points to get them into a healthy range and whatnot.
Oh, that's cool.
As a way to prevent disease rather than address it once it's already arrived. Which anyways, pretty cool stuff.
Okay.
So he did this whole podcast with him, and they go into a lot of like medical stuff, but they go into some pretty interesting like history of healthcare and like all the interesting little conspiracy tangents that are tied into that. So
nice.
Anyway, this trailer tantalizes some of that stuff, or teases some of that stuff. So
tantalizes sound better.
Yeah, I like that. All right, let's check this out.
Cool, let's get it.
In modern times, we've gotten used to the images of dystopian societies in fiction, from a world where babies are no longer being born and children of men, to the use of human-like artificial intelligence as slaves in a dying world like Blade Runner, or the very bleak future of The Matrix, where our entire reality is a managed simulation, keeping us docile, just so that our bodies can be used for energy. There is an acceptance of the dystopia they survive in, like the proverbial frog sat in slowly boiling water. And one only need to shift their perspective slightly to realize that the world we are currently living in shares many characteristics of these dystopias. Or at the very least, there exist some extremely worrying trends that might produce a future where food makes you sick, going to the doctor can bankrupt your entire family, social interactions have been reduced into likes and upvotes, and you can barely even tell if the person responding to you is AI. We live in a society where panels of self-appointed quote-unquote experts decide what you're allowed to hear, think, and remember. We're told what's real and what isn't, and anything that doesn't fit the script is dismissed. These things are treated not as mysteries to be explored, but as distractions, a punchline of a joke.
Don't get him too close to me, please.
It seems clear that a system has been put in place to deceive us, and this does not end at the limits of what you can see in the sky. This deception reaches down into the fundamental building blocks of your body, what you eat, why you get sick, and how that disease and treatment is commodified. It's not a wildly outlandish claim to suggest that a blanket similar to the one that has hidden truths about UFOs, non-human intelligences, and physics redefining technologies has also been used to disguise the truth about health. Following this trail leads through many of the same avenues as the hidden history of UFOs, the alliance between secret government programs and big business, classified breakthroughs in science and medicine, and the code that we have been written on, our DNA, having cosmic significance. And there is a conspiracy keeping us poisoned, low energy, lonely, and tired, too sick to look up and ask what we are doing here. But is there a way out? The long road to the dystopian health system we now live in, and how it has become enforced, started at the beginning of the 20th century, when the entire landscape was transformed, almost single-handedly, and to serve big business interests. John D. Rockefeller, already the richest man on Earth thanks to Standard Oil, now ExxonMobil, had a vision to monopolize medicine in the same way that he had oil. Petrochemicals were on the rise, and synthetic pharmaceuticals that included products derived from oil were a way to patent and own treatments in medicine. It also meant stamping out competition, most notably of natural medicine and therapies that could eat into profits. In 1910, with backing from Rockefeller and fellow titan Andrew Carnegie, the Flexner Report was released. Written by Abraham Flexner, it condemned most of America's medical schools, especially those teaching anything other than drug-based, symptom-focused treatment. Over half the medical schools in the United States shut down. The rest were brought in line, and the American Medical Association became the enforcer.
Yeah.
So I believe the Y-Files also did an episode on this story of the American Medical Association and their history.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that one of theirs.
Yeah, it's kind of an older one. It's probably a year or two old now.
Yeah.
But I mean, not old in the history of the show, but
right.
Last couple of years ago. But it was an interesting one. Just that whole era when they took over the medical association. The medical association basically took over the rights.
What a lot of people don't understand about the American Medical Association is that it's basically just a cartel. It's a partnership amongst physicians
in the schools in which they
and its original aim was to protect the interests of its members, right? And so how do you do that? You shut down all of the practices, you vilify and shut down all the practices that compete with your own.
Yep. Which means going into the schools that teach medicine and creating a standard model for your, medical practices, and then the students coming out of the schools that ask the questions are never given the accreditation that is required nowadays to practice medicine.
Right.
In most places.
And yeah, so that's kind of the beginning of the monopolization of the medical system, and where the price of medicine started going up. And a lot of people don't stop and think about what is the actual system that we have here, because the system that we have it's not designed to prevent disease. It's designed to address it once it comes up and maybe try and make your symptoms a little less painful, a little more manageable.
Not always
not
meant
to cure your problem, though.
Yeah, they're not necessarily trying to reverse any of it.
Yeah, and not that doesn't happen sometimes, but the ideal business solution to a medical problem is to make it not feel so bad, and to
then you can prolong the amount of time that somebody is on certain medications, which means more money.
If you can get someone dependent on a medication in order to make them feel good in managing a disease,
they're going to keep coming back for it.
Right.
Yeah. And then they're going to suggest that the next person that they come across that has the same problem go do the same thing they did because it was manageable and it made me feel good. And yeah.
Not that it's not important to ease people's suffering, but like that's not the goal. Should be to prevent the suffering in the first place.
Yeah,
which is obviously has a huge amount to do with nutrition and diet. And how you
education,
just decisions you make in life,
the types of foods you have access to. Yep.
And instead we have a system that only comes in once the problem is so bad that it is manifested in some sort of outward facing disease with symptoms.
Well, and a lot of times the reason it takes so long for somebody to come in for a problem that they're experiencing is because of how how expensive they know it's going to be once they have to deal with going to the doctor and getting the medications and being on some medication for long periods of time and they just know how cost prohibitive it is to seek the attention early.
Right.
Especially when you're at a place where you just can't afford to go on some sort of long-term medication, you know? I don't know. It just seems crazy. And we've touched on the medical system before, but we haven't done a deep dive into it.
We should do a deep dive at some point.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be lots of episodes. Like this is a gigantic topic.
But we could pick one thing and we could talk about how the AMA was formed back in the day, and then we can kind of work our way through it.
Well, I'm getting ready to hop on keto again, and I think anytime I prepare to do that, I usually go over the literature again, and maybe that'll build into a natural episode to talk about the theory behind it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Because I want to learn too. I haven't looked into keto. I mean, I've heard about it and I've seen you do it the couple times now. But yeah, I'd love to know more about the theory and like the whole, education behind it.
Yeah. There's a lot of information there, and there's probably a lot more information since the last time I looked in because the topic has grown so much.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing it. A lot more research has been done, I'm sure.
And once I'm in there, I want to start messing more with fasting,
right?
Like full on water fasting. I've done a 3-day water fast before, where all I had was water for 3 days, and it was in the middle of like being deep in ketosis, and it was actually really easy. Like I started it because the first day, like I got through like 20 hours of a day without eating, and I was like, well, I'm not hungry, so
I feel like
I'm not going to eat.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of turned into a 3-day fast.
Yeah.
But I'd like to do that again, maybe go up to 7 if I can.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy. I can't even imagine not eating for 7 days.
Yeah, I mean,
but once you get to that point where your body doesn't crave the foods that you're normally eating, then it doesn't.
It's about what is the pathway for your body's metabolism, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So not to preempt a whole episode on this stuff, but essentially, like, you have 2 main pathways for metabolism. You have working off of sugar and working off of fat. And your body can do either, but because of the average diet that most people have, there's a large amount of carbohydrates that just get processed into sugars that are in everyone's diet. And so as long as that is available in a certain abundance in your diet, your body will always stay in sugar burning mode. And so it'll create the glycogen stores in your muscles out of the sugar, the blood sugar. It'll create, I forget what I think it's like ATP or something that goes into your brain that your brain uses for energy. I might be wrong on what that's called. But anyway, it builds those out of sugar as well. But when you get into a ketogenic state, by reducing the amount of carbohydrates and sugar in your diet, then your body no longer can just start converting sugar into those things.
So it's got to switch over to.
So it's got to switch over, and you have pathways in your body for doing that. That's why your body stores fat, is so that it can
have that in an emergency.
It can burn that fat for energy, right? And so you can activate that system where your body goes into fat burning mode by having a certain amount of fat in your diet.
Right. Because isn't it a high fat diet?
Yeah. It's a high fat, moderate protein, and then like high on the like veggies and fiber.
Right.
But you have to restrict sugar and carbohydrates.
Right. Like heavily, like basically zero.
Yeah, heavily to like 20 grams or less a day, depending on your body. Some people can't tolerate almost any in order to get their body into ketosis. Some people can have more and still get into an effective ketosis. But yeah, once you activate that fat burning mode, then your body can fuel your brain off of fat. It can fuel your muscles and your glycogen, replenish your glycogen stores off of fat. And the thing is, I've heard it described this way. It was like, from a metabolic standpoint, or like, I think it was someone talking about it for like athletics, for sport use. The thing is, like, even if you load up and you have sugar, you have a certain amount of sugar in your system and you have a certain amount of glycogen stores. And once the sugar in your system has been depleted, then you start to get really hungry. People get cramps, and that's that like hitting the wall phenomenon that people have for like endurance athletes.
Right.
Whereas when you are in a fat burning mode, you have a giant, even a skinny person has more calories in body fat at any given moment on their body than you can have in your body in sugar at any given moment.
Gotcha.
And so by being in a fat burning mode, you can make it so that you can prevent that hitting a wall crash, because you never run out of an energy source, basically.
Yeah, it's not having to go into like shock where it just runs out of the thing it's been burning.
Right.
Yeah.
And apparently a number of like specifically endurance sports records have been broken by people like using this
method,
this
ketosis
dieting method.
Yeah, I'm very interested in trying it myself. So now that we're closer, and I can maybe dip into it a bit.
Yeah,
but I would just learn. I would like to know my levels too, and like what it would take to get to that point. What I would have to cut out, obviously sugars and.
Yeah, I've got the testers, so you can like actually like read your blood sugar level and your ketone level out of your blood.
That's cool.
And yeah, we'll usually track that while I'm on the diet.
You do that like weekly or something? Oh, daily?
I can see like how, if I'm moving further, deeper into ketosis, or if I do something in my diet that's starting to pull me out and I got to restrict it a little more.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, I'm definitely going to watch this episode.
Yeah, it's
even
a
though
great episode.
I've gotten a lot of information from the Y-Files episode on the AMA specifically, and their history and a lot of the health industry. But I would love to hear the actual
I'd say the episode's like maybe a third about all that conspiracy AMA stuff, right?
I would like to hear, about this interview.
But then just a lot just about
this new health system.
Right. Like the advances we've had in preventative, the preventative approach to healthcare.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. I'll have to read it or listen to that and read up more on it.
Cool. Well, why don't we take a break here and then we'll hop into OAHSPE.
Okay.
And see how far we can get through that. And if we have time, maybe we'll
get some Marcus Aurelius and some tarot to finish this out. Sounds good. All right. We'll see y'all in a few minutes. Enjoy.
Welcome back.
All right.
That was Stevie Nader, Speculate.
I don't speculate.
Let's speculate about some OAHSPE.
All right, let's go.
All right, so the last chapter we covered, let's see, it did the whole, introduced us to the like ranks of the angels, the different angel jobs, right?
Yep.
And talked about the idea of like, of God being like a position, like a bureaucratic position, the person in charge of all of the earth, basically.
Right.
And then that God had like lords who reported to him, who would divide up the different areas of the earth, and that there were these different levels of heaven, right?
Right.
And that some of the angels were like guardian angels. Some of them are these ones that are meant to sort of like transport
to the afterlife or whatever. And
then there was like a whole position just for musicians, which was sick.
Yeah, just to like be a musician as people are going through their spiritual, days, I guess, I'm down for that. Sign me up.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got today?
So today we got chapter 8 of the Book of Jehovah. So let's start here. Jehovah said, "And God shall cause a record to be kept in heaven of his dominions and his lords. And they shall enjoin, and he and they shall enjoin it upon their successors forever to keep a like record."
So yeah, just continuing the record keeping then.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they're he's hands off then for the majority of time.
Well, I wonder if this is like what the New Age movement would call like what they call it, the Akashic records.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There was that interesting episode of the Brothers of the Serpent where they had that one lady on who did like the crystal healing and Reiki and stuff like that. And she said that she would like go into the Akashic records for the people she was working with and like find what
out
they needed in order
based on what their spiritual needs were.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she would help by asking the record keepers basically questions on what it is that she's looking for, and they would like scroll through and find the information based on the subject,
which also sounds a lot like certain people's like DMT trips where they talk about going to these like technological libraries and stuff and being shown books and
given information. Yeah. It's a cool idea. I want to experience that. I want to go to the Akashic records.
And all right, let's keep going. "And in the times of my harvest, a copy of these records shall be taken up to my Etherean kingdoms and filled with my Orion chiefs and archangels. And filed with my Orion chiefs and archangels in the roadway of the travel of the great serpent."
Ooh. So, there, because previously we had heard about this, the harvest being like this 200-year cycle, where every 200 to 400 years or something like that within that time frame, God or Jehovah would allow the spirits who had passed on to move on to the next level or to go into their next job or to like whatever.
Harvest, right.
Yeah, the harvest being like this time frame in which these souls are released.
Yeah, they had laid that out where there's the Dans, and there was like 3,000 years or so is like this period where they'll do these harvests.
Well, within the Dan, those 3,000 periods are the periods of the current people, the current administrators, if you will,
right?
That's their term of service, basically.
Of office, yeah.
You know, they are on doing what they're doing for that Dan,
right?
And then during the harvest is when the souls that were released from the earth, or passed on from the earth, are in school, in learning about being a spirit and learning about what it means to, live your spirit life and what job you may end up being placed in or
exist
whatever.
In atmospheria, the lower heavens that are attached to the earth, right? And then every so often when the harvest happens, they're able to ascend from there onto bigger, better things elsewhere in the universe,
or be recruited by the current administration to serve the next in the next Dan or the next age.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's filed with the Orion chiefs. That's an interesting term too.
A great serpent that you had referenced before too.
Yeah, the Orion chiefs and archangels. So this sounds like people who have these bureaucratic positions like the gods and the lords on earth, but maybe this is now a higher level. Maybe this is like galactic or even higher, possibly.
Yeah. They're the next level up, but within this, having the same similar type of jobs or positions or whatever that you might want to call it.
And I find it interesting that this all could sort of work within the framework of like the Errol interviews.
Yeah. A lot of similarities.
Yeah. And travel of the great serpent. So yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if it's talking about like the galaxy or like,
or some sort of a, embodied thing that moves through the universe and has its own specific mission.
Yeah. So a copy of the records gets taken up to the Orion chiefs and archangels in the roadway of the travel of the great serpent for their deliberations as to the progress and management of the inhabitants of the earth and her heavens.
Okay.
Think not, O ye angels, that the resurrection of your heirs and their descendants that come up out of the earth is an easy matter and of steady progress, devoid of mishaps and woeful darkness.
So they're not necessarily immune from that then?
Yeah, and even the whole bureaucratic system they're setting up isn't immune, is what it sounds like.
So it sounds like be wary of the fact that you are not above the corruption that could lie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That could come from whatever. Whatever source.
The angels under you shall become at times rebellious and defiant, disregarding your laws and decrees, and they shall desert your heavenly places and go down to the earth in millions and hundreds of millions. And they shall drive away the Ashars, and then assume guardianship over the mortals. But they shall develop no righteousness under the sun, but they will inspire mortals to war and destruction. Sounds a lot like the age we're living in right now, huh?
I was going to say, it sounds like there might be some false gods living amongst us and turning warlike and destructive and
right.
Yeah.
And these angels will themselves take to war and evil on every hand within the place of your heavens.
They're going to take that fight everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the foul gases of atmospheria shall they make weapons of war and places of torment. With these elements shall they make suffocating hells in order to cast one another in chaos.
It's like sell your soul to the devil and then they cast you into oblivion.
So like, sounds like these like concepts like hell can be real, but it's not necessarily as part of God's creation or as part of like the nature.
It's part of the corruptive nature of some sort of faction within, because like what I've hinted at before and what it seems like is that it's all structured in such a way, but the structure is loose enough for these things to take place.
Mm-hmm.
It's loose enough in that it's not so rigid and bureaucratic where it's counting every pea and dime and like making sure every little, no hair is out of place, and like, like the idea that free will is still there and people can make decisions to alter the course of,
and not just with the humans, but also with the angels.
Right. Because the way they're setting it up is that the angels aren't necessarily any better than the humans on Earth.
Right.
They
just
are simply
in a different state.
They're in a different state of being.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
And mortals who shall be slain in war shall be born in spirit in chaos on the battlefields. In chaos shall such spirits enter the S world, and they shall not know that they are dead as to the earth life, but shall still keep fighting right and left.
Sounds like ghosts and poltergeists and like that kind of phenomena happening is when they die in such a violent way, or such a evil, in a sense, way that
they don't realize they're dead,
and that they weren't prepared for that type of a death.
Right, and maybe their ashar isn't available to them because he's been chased off by some other spirit or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Which makes me think of things like when we did the reincarnation series, and there was like the Japanese pilots who got reincarnated into places where like those pilots had bombed previously.
Yeah. And then you hear like a lot of like the people who live in like the deep south of the United States where like the Civil War happened and like a lot of these like brutal wars had taken place on our own land, and even like Native Americans and like all that kind of brutal historical stuff that happened. And you hear of like places where it's like almost like it is as real as anything else to these people that experience these things in these places.
These like haunted
go on these battlefields
and
they see ghostly figures with lights off in the distance that they hear the marching of a army or something. Interesting.
An enemy shall take enemy in these heavens and cast them in the places of torment which they shall have built, and they shall not know peace nor wisdom. And the work of your heavens shall become as nothing, and ye shall turn to, going about delivering hells and the spirits in chaos, and your labor shall be exhaustive. Verily shall you cry out because ye came and peopled the earth. So warning these angels, like, this ain't going to end well. Like, this isn't going to go perfect forever.
Yeah. To be prepared for, the hard times.
Yeah. This also have I created possible unto my creations, for both angels and mortals shall learn to know the elements of the heavens and the earth, and to know the trials of love and misfortune. Nor have I made wisdom possible unto any man or angel that knoweth not my elements, and the extremes of evil and good which I created. This sounds like getting to know the shadow self type stuff.
Yeah.
Nor have I made, I said that. But in the times of great darkness, which shall come upon the earth and these heavens, lo, I will bring the earth into Dan-ha, and my Ethereans shall come in my name and deliver them.
That's talking about the changing of the age.
Right.
So
even if it descends into chaos, eventually the new age will take over, and I'll send a new
reset things in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like Chris Bledsoe's prediction for what's coming in 2027 or 2026.
Yeah, right.
Like the new age is beginning, and the female presence, maybe, like the female presence, I guess, will be a shift in this collective consciousness.
And there's also like the transition into the age of Aquarius, and and again, for another cycle shall they be left with the lessons given unto them. But they shall fall again in course of time. But again will I deliver them. Through my gods and goddesses will I cause them to comprehend the magnitude of my creation.
Yeah, it seems like inevitability.
Mm-hmm. As ye travel from heaven to heaven in atmospherian ships, even so shall ye inspire mortals to build corporeal ships and sail across the oceans, that the inhabitants of different divisions of the earth may become known to one another. Yeah. And when the inhabitation of the earth shall be completed, and the nations shall have established civil communion around from east to west, in that same time will I bring the earth into the Kosmon Era. My angel ambassadors, gods and goddesses shall render up the records of these heavenly kingdoms. So the Kosmon Era, let's look that up in our glossary.
It's a heavy book.
Yeah. All right. Hell.
Kosmon Era.
Kosmon and Kosmon Era. Here we go. So, Kosmon, a state in which corporeal and spiritual knowledge are both fully developed simultaneously and are in balance, without either one being overemphasized, a state of universal fellowship among all nations. Also, one of the three types of named seasons, with Kosmon being the third season for humanity. And then for Kosmon Era or Kosmon Season, says the period of time of a planet in which maturity and balance between both corporeal and spiritual knowledge is eventually attained. The Earth at this time is experiencing the earthly part of its first Kosmon Era.
Interesting.
The first arc of this era spans 3,100 years on Earth, according to the Elohist Communications. And OAHSPE infers that it began in 1848.
So, within the next 2,000 years?
Yeah.
Is the end of the first part of the season or whatever?
The current Kosmon Era, consisting of 4 Dan-has, is the first one of 6 eras that forms the Kosmon season of 72,000 years.
Okay. So it's like the procession. It's like the...
Yeah, it is.
Fascinating.
That's a weird...
So it's like a period in which spirituality and scientific corporeal feats kind of balance in such a way that people feel, or the earth and as a whole feels pretty balanced and well managed, and people understand enough physically but also can connect it spiritually, and
right.
they're not throwing each other off. Sounds like a good time to live.
Well, maybe not in the transitional stages.
Sure, yeah, which we seem to be in one.
Right.
Based on their timeline there.
All right. Where did I get the Kosmon Era stuff? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Through them will I reveal unto mortals the creation of my worlds and the history and dominion of my gods and lords on the earth, even from this day down to the time of Kosmon. And Jehovah caused the angels of Atmospheria to assemble together and organize the first kingdom of the heaven of the earth. And the place was called Hored. That's H-O-R-E-D, Hored.
Sounds horrid.
Because it was the place of the first organic abiding place for the first god of this world. And Hored was situated over and above the mountains of Aotan in Ugoki.
Nice try.
We're getting some crazy words here. So Aotan, that's A-O-T-A-N in Ugoki. That's U-G-H-O-Q-U-I. Ugoki. To the eastward of Ui. That's U-I. Of that country hereinafter called the continent of Pan. Thus,
I've heard that before. What's that reference from? Pan?
Well, like panspermia, pan just meaning, or like panic. There's a god Pan.
The land of Pan I've heard too. Like this, like
it's like Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Pan is, goes back in ancient religious ideas. He's like I want to say he's like almost like a trickster nature god.
Okay. That might be where it's reminding me of like the Secret Histories. That's probably where I heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thus endeth the inorganic habitation of the earth and her atmospheria. And that's the end of the Book of Jehovah.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
That was a cool introduction to OAHSPE. So hopefully we'll have some more. We'll go into probably do some different types of episodes.
Yeah.
But we want to definitely jump back into this and go over some more books and chapters.
I'm going to have to do some reading ahead because we can't just like read the whole book this way because it'll
take forever.
A, take forever, and B, be incredibly boring at certain areas.
Yeah.
So I'll do my best to try and pre-screen if there's like whole chapters or whole books that I think are interesting. Maybe we'll do those series like this.
Yeah.
If there's other ones that are a little more repetitive, I'll try and maybe summarize the sections.
Take snippets of them. Yeah.
I
know you said it's going to get into some repetitive stuff when it talks about all the different gods and all the different eras and all the different
because it kind of goes through the cycle which it teased here, right? Like, which is that this isn't always going to go well.
Yeah.
And
so it talks about some of the good and some of the bad.
There's these cycles that happen where like a new set of gods get sent in and
do a terrible job.
They set up shop and they set everything right and a new era begins, right? And then this cycle will go on for a while, and eventually some of the gods or spirits will start they'll start rebelling, and they'll start trying to manipulate humans to praise them instead of praise Jehovah, and they make it about their glorification. And so then it's more about manipulating humanity to serve them specifically. And this is where it starts sounding like these like religious fracturing of the world and like jealous gods like Yahweh saying, you shall have no God before me. You know, like that's the type of like jealous gods.
Well, it's also an admission that there are other gods.
Right. Because in this, God is just the title.
Yeah. That's
So,
cool. Well, I'd love to
yeah.
hear some examples of that and maybe some examples of how things went.
Yeah,
went
but once
really
we've heard some
well.
examples of that, we don't need to hear
All
20
of them,
more
right.
examples of it in a row.
But I want to hear one at least.
Right.
For sure.
But there will be still some interesting, like, I think they address things like Atlantis and like Lemuria, and
Cool.
they get into a lot of like really just interesting things in general. There's a lot more exploration of like human nature as well, and like how the afterlife works. And
Nice.
anyway,
I'm excited for that.
it's cool stuff.
But yeah, we'll take a quick break and then we'll hop back in and maybe we'll do a little Marcus Aurelius reading and tarot since we haven't done that in a while, and maybe we'll end the episode a little early.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right. See y'all in a little bit.
All right.
That star that tells me to look away, certain in the confidence you convey. These things I'd forever hesitate to do if I didn't.
Took me by surprise, opened my eyes to something beautiful. Love at first sight, I realized this is unusual. She's perfect every way, me and you, girl, we're just so suitable. I can only hold my feelings towards you are somewhat mutual. You brighten up my day the right way while I ride away. Give me the right of way, night and day. You still like the way she hit me like a tidal wave, hotter than the fireplace. I'm with you to the final day. Give me a pen, I'll sign a page. Resign a day for life and stay. I promise if you do the same. No playing games, let's do this thing. I'll even give you my name. I hope you come back to me one day like a boomerang. If you ever leave, you might as well shoot me in the brain. Lock and load, shoot away. I won't even look away. I won't ask you to stay. I know you gotta leave, so I'ma set you free. But if you ever come back to me, then I know it's meant to be. You're my sunshine.
You always that star that tells me to look
I gravitate, I can't escape, I can't pull away.
These things I forever hesitate to do.
But only if you really knew my love for you, then maybe you would stay.
Always that star that tells me to look away, certain in the confidence you convey. These things I forever hesitate to do if I didn't have.
You were born to shine, brighter than the stars. I'm scared to stare you on, so I admire from afar. And you keep my heart warm-blooded, love it when you're shining down, down. Where'd you go, where are you now? Cold nights, you disappear. I see you in the moonlight, reflections of you crystal clear. I can still feel you here, I hear you whisper in my ear. But turn around, there's no one there. You burn me out like solar flares. I know you care, I know you do, but under you there's nothing new. At times I don't know what to do. I tell you I'm in love with you. You tell me that you've seen it all before. We should take our time. Common sense tells me doesn't take a day to recognize. In summertime, the more you shine like gold, mine for 49. San Franciscan gorgeous dime, you stole my heart and blew my mind. I look right up into the sky, I wonder if I cross your mind. You tell me turn and look away, I wish I could, but it's too late.
You're always that star that tells me to look
I gravitate, I can't escape, I can't pull away.
And these things I forever hesitate to do.
But only if you really knew my love for you, then maybe you would stay.
Always that star that tells me to look away, certain in the confidence you convey. And these things I forever hesitate to do if I didn't have.
All things proceed from one intelligent source and come together like one body, and we shouldn't find fault with what is done for the benefit of the whole. For there are only atoms and nothing else than mixture and dispersion. Why then are you disturbed? Say to the ruling faculty, are you dead? Are you corrupted? Are you playing the hypocrite? Are you becoming a beast? Do not herd and feed with the rest. Either gods have no power or they have power. If then they have no power, why do you pray to them? But if they have power, why do you not pray to them to give you the faculty of not fearing any of the things which you fear, or of not desiring any of the things which you desire, or not being pained by anything, rather than pray that any of these things should not happen or happen? So it's like, in my mind, it's saying like, choose and do act in accordance of your beliefs, whether it be that one thing is true or not, but your indecisiveness is what may cause the struggle.
Right. So if you believe, then you should be praying. And if you don't, then why would you?
Yeah. And if you don't believe, then why you fear things that a believer would only fear?
Right.
And if you do believe, why do you fear things that only a non-believer would fear, right? Like,
right. Or why aren't you praying for the removal of the fear?
Mm-hmm,
right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that in the way that this is structured, it's like the indecisiveness of your beliefs are what cause the pain or the struggle within your own mind. Within your own mind, right?
Yeah. As a person who tries to keep one foot in the science and one foot in the woo, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that just might explain human nature right there, though, right? Like, even a true believer has doubts, right? Even the most ardent believer and the steadfast atheists have moments of faltering and disbelief in whatever it is that they do or do not believe. So
right.
It's kind of human nature and the existence, that's what it is to be human in a sense, right? It's like, but that is like, it's like a just a clear way of saying, well, less clear, but maybe in the time contemporarily, if the words were used in such a way, it's a clear way of just saying like, this is existence and be what it is you're going to be without remorse or regret,
Right. Yeah, like, don't shy away from being consistent with what you believe, though.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're in a era of your life where you're feeling the pull of faith or you're feeling the pull of spirituality, don't shy away from acting on it in such a way that aligns with your feeling.
Right.
Because of the previous thoughts that you had held.
Right.
And vice versa.
I find myself doing that all the time, dude. So, yeah, that's good words. Good words.
Yeah. I just flipped to that page.
Wow.
So, yeah. It's a good one.
Thanks, Marcus.
Appreciate your meditations.
You're a real one.
Yeah.
Aurelius one.
You're Aurelius one.
All right.
Cool. What's our tarot for the day?
Our tarot.
The week, the month. We haven't done it in a few months.
Ooh, we pulled a 6 of Cups. That's what it looks like. And it was inverted.
Okay.
So here, why don't you...
Yeah, I'll show it to the camera here.
While I look it up.
So this is the non-inverted, but we will be reading it as... We'll probably read both, but...
Yeah.
This is the Six of Cups. So I'll describe it. We're looking at... Looks like a standard medieval town. Medieval time frame of town. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, we got 6 chalice-looking cups, big hourglass-shaped cups, with 2 subjects. We got one of the taller subjects wearing sort of, I don't know, medieval style garb with a red cloak or red hood. It's like Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, I got it on screen here.
Oh, okay, cool. And then it's kind of got like a big long hat too, like a beanie, but like it's got, Anyway, and then the shorter one also is wearing a red hood, but you can see more of their hair and polka dot dress. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got 1 star-shaped flower in each of these cups. One sitting on a pillar with an X on it, like a shield and an X, and then one being handed or handled by the taller of the 2. And then in the background, you see like a little medieval kind of village or something with like a tower. And then you see a man walking in the background with a spear, maybe a guard or something.
Ooh, where do you see that?
In the back left.
Oh, yeah, I see him.
Yeah, he's got like a spear.
Over here.
Yeah. And then, kind of grass field that they're standing in, grass.
So what do you make of the scene altogether? It looks to me like these 2 girls are gathering flowers and
or preparing
using
them for some
6 cups as like
planters.
vases.
Yeah, vases. Yeah, it looks like they're maybe preparing them for something, or the altars in which the one is set is maybe where they're placing them throughout.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the 4 and the 4 of them in the foreground are just to be placed.
What is that 5-pointed star style flower that they've got?
I don't know. It's kind of like a poinsettia or something.
I'm sure that means
that might
something.
have some meaning, yeah.
So according to the pictorial key of tarot, it says cups. 6 of Cups is children in an old garden, their cups filled with flowers, divinatory meanings, a card of the past and of memories, looking back, as for example, on childhood, happiness and enjoyment, but coming rather from the past, things that have vanished. Another reading reverses this, giving new relations, new knowledge, new environment, and then the children are disporting in an unfamiliar precinct. Reversed, it says the future renewal, that which will come to pass presently.
The future renewal, that which will come to pass presently.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So upright meaning, it's the card of memory, nostalgia, and emotional roots. It often appears like a gentle wave from the past, inviting you to reconnect with something or someone that felt pure, meaningful, or true. This card can signal reunions, forgiveness, or the return of a feeling you thought you'd outgrown. Innocence, not ignorance. Love without armor. But don't mistake softness for stagnation. The Six of Cups isn't about living in the past. It's about healing from it. And maybe if you're ready, reclaiming the version of you that knew how to love without fear. Upright, the Six of Cups suggests emotional renewal through reconnection. You may be revisiting old relationships, childhood memories, or creative dreams from your earlier life. The past wants your attention, not to trap you there, but to remind you of something essential you've left behind. This card often brings warmth, tenderness, and a softening of emotional defenses. It can also represent the experience of giving or receiving heartfelt care. Think kindness without expectation, support that reminds you what it feels like to be truly safe in someone's presence. As far as the symbolism says, it's filled with symbolism that evokes nostalgia, innocence, emotional memory. In most depictions, one child offers a cup filled with flowers to another, representing kindness, emotional generosity, and the purity of heartfelt connections. The cups are often set around a quaint village or courtyard, suggesting safety, roots, and the sweetness of where you've come from, whether that's a hometown, a past relationship, or a simpler emotional state. The surrounding scene is quiet and familiar, emphasizing emotional security and the comfort of revisiting something once cherished. Reversed, it says the Six of Cups may point to being stuck in nostalgia or idealizing the past to avoid the present. Maybe you're clinging to an old love, an outdated version of yourself, or a romanticized idea of what once was. It's okay to miss it, but don't build your future around a memory. This card reversed can also call you back to the present moment. Are you avoiding growth by longing for how things used to be? Maybe you're ready to bring those lessons forward and incorporate them into your personal evolution.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like almost personally, like the nostalgia like that I felt from just last night when the five of us were hanging out and like just chit-chatting and having a good time, and how often those things happened, you know, previously. And then having you guys move closer to us and like being able to have that be a possibility more in the future.
Right.
Right? That could be the idea of like feeling or potential being stuck in nostalgia or whatever, but like not wanting to. But then it's, you know, at the end there, it kind of gave the caveat of like you're ready to like take those feelings and move forward with them.
Mm-hmm.
But to kind of caution against being stuck in those. You're
not trying to rebuild the past. You're trying to like allow the inspiration from that nostalgia and that warmth of those memories to inform your building forward towards the future rather than attempting to struggle for something that's gone.
Mm-hmm. Right? Or like it said, build your future around the nostalgia and the feelings that you had previously, right?
Yeah, like you can take them for inspiration, but you can't build your future on the past. Yeah.
Right, because it is meant. It's the past is the past.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's a good card.
Yeah, that's a lot different than any of the cards we've drawn so far.
It is.
Yeah, I find that one pretty cool.
Very cool.
And I see kind of what they're trying to go for now with that, like understanding these descriptions and now looking at the artwork. Like I see how they're trying to create that interesting detail. The guy with the spear.
Well, that's like the safety, the security. Like you're at your home in a village, you know, you have the security around to keep you safe, and
he's not messing with these two children.
Right, he's just out patrolling or whatever. Right. Just keeping everybody safe.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just out picking flowers. It's like a, you know, beautiful bright day too, like based on the picture. Like it's not dull, it's not dark.
Yeah.
It's blue skies, clear skies. You know, just invokes all of that like nostalgic. Like when you remember your childhood and all the good things, these are the days you remember.
Yeah.
You know, even a day that is very memorable, that's like, you know, nasty weather or whatever, when you remember, that's not what you remember.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the emotion, you remember the feeling, which changes the scene in your brain, because your brain is the malleable enough to do that kind of stuff. Where like some people, like if you were to just have like a perfect remembering, you know, if you were able to perfectly remember any situation from your past, you might remember all the small details that made it what it actually was. But when you're just invoking the feeling and the senses around it, you're not remembering the little details of the day. You're just remembering how warm it made you feel, or right?
Yeah,
like it doesn't matter if it was a winter day when it was 30 degrees outside, when overcast, it's the feeling, the warmth, right?
Yeah.
Sitting at home with your family and just all, together and happy, and right.
I found this concept described in the text there. There may be something you left behind there.
Yeah.
I found that interesting.
And it's just trying to make you remember what it felt like to be that person at that time, having that feeling or that thought.
Right. So you're not trying to recreate the past, but you're trying to remember a piece of yourself that maybe you've suppressed, and that piece is in the past.
Well, and it's essential for maybe your progress in your future.
Right.
To remember the way that those things maybe made you feel, to recreate some aspect of that for your future.
Yeah.
It's a cool card. I like this card a lot.
Very much so. Cool.
All right.
Awesome. Do we call it short here then?
Yeah, I think so. I think we had a good episode. I think it was very, on point with all the stuff we wanted to do. So
yeah, I enjoyed that. Thank you guys for being with us again this week.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. If you guys like the video, please share with a friend, or write a review.
One of the biggest things you can do to help
comment.
us at this point, if you're into the podcast, is to just share it with someone you know.
Yeah.
Text it to a friend or send it on social media to someone. Just let someone else know about it and that you're enjoying it. Maybe send them an episode that you really enjoy.
Yep, something that might be something that you share together, or you have some sort of connection around it.
There's no replacing that sort of word of mouth as far as like how much it helps us and what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you if you're willing to do that for us.
Be very helpful. And if you're watching the podcast, the video podcast on YouTube or Rumble, like, subscribe, comment. Those things help as well. Get the algorithm and push this our content in front of some more audiences who are like-minded, similar. They watch the same kind of videos you do. Commenting is a great way to interact with us if you guys want to. We missed it this week, but maybe you'll have to do it next week.
I haven't even looked at comments.
Well, we had one over the last couple episodes. So
did we? Okay.
We'll do a little bit more of that in the beginning of next week's episode. But like, subscribe, comment. If you guys want to check out our website, it's dualitycheck.net. It's got everything you need. It's got all the links. It's got all the information on the episode. You can go and scroll through, and you'll see all these links on the right side that'll bring up the different episodes, and the larger text ones are the ones we talk about the most, and are linked within all the different episodes. So it'll show you, right there. It'll show you a little compilation of all the videos we talk about.
This is our UFO episodes, and we got a lot. I gotta fix some of those colors there.
Oh yeah. Well, good. Now we found a little bug. But yeah, appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Please email us at host@dualitycheck.net if you guys want to contact us directly for any reason.
Yep.
All right.
Be happy to hear from y'all, and
Absolutely.
we'll see you next week.
Later.